Good afternoon. It is March 3rd, 2021, and here's what we are looking at for the day. So it was a downtrend day, very strong downtrend, and it's continuing to trend down right now. Um, you could have had this trend line pretty early here, actually. What time is that? I would say if you took a guess at 6:54 that this was the midline, this was the low, this was the high. You could have done that, and you would have known that at about, actually probably right here, about 6:50 this morning, and that would have given you a lot of good entries. Um, so let's take a look at what I marked up. A lot of good price action. Um, so in the overnight we have this big leg down, and you know what? We should probably measure that. I'm trying to get better about measuring my moves. So let's do that right here. All right. Um, let's see. Well, went beyond that, but it does look like we got some support right there over here. So once it did finally hit that target, there was some resistance. Very interesting. Um, like Mack always says, whoever tells you market geometry isn't real or that market is unpredictable, they're just not right. They don't know what they're talking about. Haven't studied their charts enough. So let's take a look. This big leg down in the overnight. So then we get this pullback to the EMA. Uh, you get a first entry, second entry. So this is like it makes a new low. First entry, second entry. It's a lower high at the EMA. It's also a trap, I'm noticing. It looks like a second entry short, as I said, off this low. First entry, second entry. And it also looks like a double test of this high. Boom, boom, ticks one tick above it. Boom, tries to go higher a third time. So all those factors stacking in your favor, I really like that. It is also looks really like a trap because of this bullish bar right here going right into the top. So that takes the longs who are probably treating it like, I don't know, some type of failure. Or they think that we're about to reverse for the rest of the day. And yeah, so it's like a trap. And then we go to the bottom of this, what turns out to be this range. Get a first entry, second entry, short. I marked it as aggressive because it's going into the EMA and it doesn't close. It doesn't close outside this what could be this channel up. So that's why I marked it as aggressive. But it is also a triple test of that high. So there are reasons to go short there if you want, and you do get scalped out. But notice it does bounce and go higher. So we get this breakout, a counter trend, and let's see. Unfortunately, this signal bar is no good because there are plenty of people trapped going long, thinking that we're getting a reversal for the day. And look at that nice leg down. Overshoot leads to a break. Perfect price action. You don't get a setup to go short here, but I would still be weary of this level of support. Get a with trend breakout. And so at this point, I wouldn't be going long um, because there isn't really much indication to go long. I mean, maybe it's like you're playing the range, but still, we had this big leg down. I don't know. Maybe some people went long here and felt comfortable doing that. But anyway, you get uh, a nice leg up. You get a breakout, counter trend, or at least the overnight trend comes down, goes longer. There are definitely some trapped longs here um, since it kind of bounces off the EMA and the midline of this congestion. Then we get this lower high, and I marked it as aggressive because it's going into, looks like it might be a uh, like a triple bottom. But it just looks like a trap. I probably wouldn't have taken this. I'd probably be too scared. Um, But we saw something like this yesterday, and I was watching Mack's video this morning. And I'll point it out again later, but it's almost like a repeat pattern from yesterday. Actually, this isn't as good of an example, but this, I think, I think people, I think other people really like this too. I mean, obviously they did, but it does catch my eye. All right, let me just leave it at that because I wasn't articulating myself well at all. But anyway, we get this, and like I said, I think at this point, yeah, at this point you could have had these lows drawn. So we get these moves here. Looks like a little bit of congestion here, but maybe people thought that it would rocket back up to the top, but it doesn't. It kind of just hangs around. I don't see any entries I like, especially since I should really mark this as congestion. Um, this is just a very congestive area, and I don't know. I don't like anything here. I'm sure there's some short-term trends that I'm not seeing or I didn't draw, I should say. Um, this here, um, hits this bottom again, then it starts to go back up. So this was one of I think I only marked two longs today. So as you can see, we're getting some congestion here, but then it comes down. So if you draw your trend line off there, move it to the highs, it bounces again. So we're getting some consistency, but this still looks like kind of congested, but then it bounces here. And you don't get a good signal bar, or else, I mean, I would be comfortable going long. And then we get more congestion above these levels. And then you get it's like a fourth entry long, but if you want to reset the count, first entry, second entry, first entry, second entry, and it's off that trend line, and it's only a 7 tick bar, so your risk would be 9 ticks. So I marked that. Far from the EMA. Then we come back to the top of this channel, hit the top of the main trend for the day, and you get a lower high. It's at all three of these key entry points. Okay, so it's at this channel. Yes, it is counter trend if you're playing this channel, but the day highs, and it's like a breakout pullback of this price level if you were quick enough to catch that. Okay, so lower high, failed breakout of earlier congestion. It's at all these key entry points. I like that for trapped longs. So we get this yellow channel down, and it's looking like a strong um, correction from that trend up. At all these confirmation spots, you don't get a signal bar. Um, this is a very bearish bar, but I don't think you could take that. Yeah, I don't see why you could take that. Anyway, you get a second entry short at this confirmation. Well, not confirmation; it's already been confirmed. But at the highs of this yellow channel, first entry, second entry. Also, this looked like a little bit of congestion, so maybe you would have had that marked and it's like a failed breakout, but I don't think I would have had that marked until here. So it's second entry short, first entry, second entry at the key entry point. Also far from the EMA. I didn't write that down. And I marked this long. I think since the trend, man, we know the trend is down, but you get this with trend breakout, and I just like it because of the signal bar. It closes like a tick or two away from the bottom of the range. This is clearly a range that I would have had drawn by this point. Failed breakout, but it's going long. So, I mean, that's aggressive on a day like today. All right, so here we get many reasons to take this trade. So you get oh, it's not a second entry short. I didn't see that. This is a first entry, second entry here. So that's actually not a second entry short, but it is a failed second entry long. It looks like a second entry short. It's a lower high, and it's at this key entry point, the day highs. So I still like that, even though it's not a second entry short. Look how far away from the EMA it is too. And then we get this failure at the key entry point. I like it. Confirms this trend line. But I guess it's probably, and it's a trap. People think this is a breakout pullback. I did want to mention that. people going long here because they think it's a breakout pullback. Um, so those people probably scalped out, took their profits, boom. That's why it works as a trap as well. I'd probably mark that as aggressive though, thinking back to it. Although it is I don't know, it looks good. Don't get a good setup here. If it ticked higher, maybe you would take that as a failure. Um, then we get this trap, and it looks like a double test kind of of these highs. Kind of looks like it's hitting this price level right here. But yeah, trap longs. This is aggressive though, because look, it doesn't come to the bottom of the channel either. But it's at the it's first break of the channel. But yeah, it's aggressive. And then we get this first entry, second entry here. So this is the repeat pattern I was talking about earlier that I wasn't articulating myself well. Mac marked something like this for yesterday's video, but I'm gonna have to see if he brings this up today. But this is like a repeat pattern of something that happened yesterday. I'm gonna try and finish this up. I think that's the last trade. The sun's getting fussy. Uh, so this is the bottom where it bounced the measured move. If you remember that, this is that price level. So that's where we get some support here. And then it comes to the back of the day highs, and I mean, I'd probably take these if I had good setups. But the only good setup you get is right here. And why did I make it blue? At multiple key entry points, and it's a failure back into congestion. Yeah, and it's a great signal bar. So it's not a second entry short, but you're not really doing that with ranges anyway. But it's not a lower high. That's why it's a little aggressive. But that's what I saw today. So I'm going to finish this up so I can get to my son. Let's take one last look at the day. Hope you had a great day. I'm pretty busy on Thursdays, so I don't think I'll be able to do one tomorrow, but maybe I will. Have a good day.